Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You are locked and loaded right here on rumble.com/elevatetv. It is November 13th, year of our Lord 2025. And I am your ever so humble, God-fearing host of this show, live from America. My name is Jeremy Herrell, a.k.a. the Hip Hop Patriot, who made songs like Train the Swamp, which I think we're doing, who made songs like Build the Wall, which we definitely did, and who made songs like MAGA Like a Mofo, which we're doing right now. Say hello to my producer Eli.
What's going on, LFA TV family and Patriots? Time to hit the rumble button. Time to hit the share button. We got news to get to. We need your help to spread the news. Let's get to work.
Somebody said, I'm incredible. No, you're incredible. No, you're incredible. DeCluse, how you doing? Sherry is in the building. Patty is here. Gerald, Chaps, 169. S. Marvel, Deb Pollen, Big Mama Campbell. We've got C. Ward, Barb Naylor. We've got Suzanne Vermontes, Jane G in the building. It's me. 77 is here. Kathy Ratcliffe is in the building. Robbie is here. Nick 4419, Sugar Booger, and the likes of which no one. Thank you very much. And Woodsman, how you doing? Pissed Off Lady is here as well. CJR is here. Rosebud, how you doing? Good to see you. The real K-Dub is in the building. And one more, let's give it to Jersey Jane. Thank you guys very much for joining us here on LFA TV's Live from America. We have 3,300 people in here. We need 4,600. We're about 1,300 people away. Smash the Rumble button. Let's take this opportunity. Let's share out the show if we have not yet. And I want to welcome everybody who's coming in. And I want to thank everybody who just got done watching Sean Farish and Brennan Farish on their show Ungoverned. How you doing, Liz Ellis in the building? Good to see you. You're welcome very much for the shout out. Joanne from North Carolina, you're welcome. Thank you, everybody who watched Rise Up. If you've been here throughout the morning, we appreciate your viewership. And we're glad you could be here. Ethitch says, great to be live today. It sure is. Kathy from the Finger Lakes is ready for some LFA. Well, let me give it to you then. Eli, what do you call, well, you know what? We won't even go there. Joy Reid and Abby Phillips. We'll just leave it at that. I was going to say, what do you call, and then I said, you know what? I'll just leave it at this. Joy Reid and Abby Phillips, two of the dumbest people on earth, having a conversation on Joy Reid's podcast, which gets less views than Live from America. I don't know how that's possible. Check it out. Wait till you see what they're saying. Hold on. We got a volume issue there. All right. That should be good. Roll it.
Breaking that down needs to be done. Because when you don't ever even hear the facts, it's hard to even know that you're wrong. And that happens a lot. I mean, half my job sometimes is knowing what the latest conspiracy is, so that if it comes up, I'm ready to address it. Because it happens a lot where people don't even know that what they're saying or what they've seen and believe is not true. And so that happens a lot, and I don't come away from that saying, what's the point of this? People are just saying false things. I think that one time that person brings up something that is debunked and false, and I debunk it at the table, might be the very first time that someone out there has heard an alternative point of view. Conservatives are living in a completely different information world than liberals.
It's called truth.
And breaking that down needs to be done.
Oh, it's a good thing that we've got Abby Phillips and Fivehead Reid to let us know what's true and what's false. I'm pretty sure that Fivehead Joy Reid was fired from the company that gave her a platform because she lied so much, because her viewership was so little. And Abby Phillips, the only thing that you do is you butt in when you ask Scott Jennings to break something down for you, and then you butt in over him and you lie and you stop him from talking because you don't want your audience to hear the truth. The only people you don't butt in on are the liberals and the left of your show that you invite on and you let them spew propaganda. But thank the good Lord, everybody, that we have Abby Phillips to let us, the conspiracy theorists, right-wing propaganda consumers, it's a good thing we've got Abby Phillips to tell us what's right and what's wrong. You guys should be so very appreciative of the job that Abby Phillips does. She is an amazing talk show host. She tells you nothing but lies, propaganda, and everything else. And you know what I think is funny? Is the way she says they're living in an information bubble of their own where conspiracy seems to be the driving force of their information. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Abby, but don't you work on a network that had a death ticker for COVID that was a conspiracy and a lie? Don't you work for a network that said if you get the jab, you won't get COVID? Don't you work for a network that said that the Hunter Biden laptop was fake and wasn't real? Don't you work for a network that said that we weren't being invaded at the southern border? Don't you work for a network that said you need legislation in order to close the border that's been closed now for numerous months, back to back to back to back? Don't you work for a network that said that Nancy Pelosi and the January 6th committee didn't delete any footage, and that the January 6th gulag was holding the most hardened insurrectionist killers in American history, on American soil ever? Yeah, I think you did. But thank the good Lord, everyone, that we've got Abby Phillips. You know, also thank the good Lord that we've got a great news site like LFA TV that you guys helped build over the past 4 years. 4 years ago, I said, it's got to be, I either got to continue to do this or I've got to stay at my job and not do this anymore. And you guys said, we'll pay you to do this and leave your job. So that's exactly what happened. And since then, Here We Go has turned into LFA, and we'd like to give back as much as we possibly can, which is why we have the Slurp Fund, and which is why we're holding a 50% off everything on the store. No promo code needed. Merry Christmas sale. All you have to do is go to lfatv.us. That's the website, folks. lfatv.us. Anything on the store is 50% off, and you're going to get free gifts as well. So you could literally do a lot of your Christmas shopping for a lot of your friends and family right there. If they're pro-God, there's God stuff on there for them. If they're pro-Trump, there's Trump stuff up on there for them. If they're pro-America, there's America stuff on there for them. If there's pro-military, there's military stuff on there for them. What we're asking is that you buy out all of our stock so we can rebuild our store for 2026 with new gear, new items. And that's only done by going to lfatv.us or jeremyherrell.com. There's also a donate section on LFA TV right there as well. And it'll take you to this page, which is my website. You'll click donate here, and all of a sudden you'll be taken to this page, which is Cornerstone Payment Systems, which you can donate 50, 100, 250, 500, 5, 1, 5 cents, it doesn't matter, and how often you'd like to donate. And that would be incredibly helpful for our growth, is if our audience continued to fund us and that we didn't, and we had to seek less partnerships with sponsors. That would be ideal. So thank you very much. It's lfatv.us, lfatv.us. And also, for a very limited time discount, folks, Golden Revive. Here it is right here. We're going to pop it on your screen. We talked about how this alleviates your joint and muscle pain almost instantly. And because of the ingredients that it has in it is the reason why it eliminates your joint and muscle pain. You know, God gave us a cure for everything on earth, right? But yet we run to pharmaceutical companies left and right, and I don't understand why. Now, you guys know that my experience with this was almost immediate, meaning that when I took this, it didn't take very long for it to kick in, and I didn't feel like I was having any problems with any kind of pain or muscle joint issues that I normally have, especially getting older. So if you are one of those people like me who are getting older and experiencing that same stuff, you've probably tried supplements, you've probably tried creams and other things promising miracles, but let's be real, hardly any of that stuff works. So hold on. Turmeric, ladies and gentlemen. Turmeric, turmeric, turmeric. I can scream it until the cows come home. Okay? Standard turmeric, you know, the stuff that you probably get and that you have in your pantry, or basic capsules, they barely get absorbed into your body, making it pretty much useless for joint pain. Recently, renowned pain specialist Dr. Josh Levitt started working on a specific type of turmeric. It's an extract called BCM 95. Okay? It absorbs 200 times faster than regular turmeric, and he didn't stop there. He combined his powerful turmeric extract with clinically backed ingredients like boswellia, magnesium, and bromelain. Golden Revive Plus isn't just another turmeric pill. It's a complete joint restoration system designed to rebuild cartilage, reduce pain, and restore, the smooth movement that you used to enjoy. All you have to do is go to goldenrevive.com/LFA. One more time. That is goldenrevive.com/LFA. goldenrevive.com/LFA. We'll pop it on the screen here for you. There it is right there. And get your LFA discount today. It is a call to action for those who are having joint and muscle pain. One more time, goldenrevive.com/LFA. Only $34.95 per bottle. Big shout out to Golden Revive. And last but not least, as we get started here today, it is Insurity Financial Services and that man right there, Tim Gustafson. Time is running out, folks. You only have until mid-December to make sure that you lock in your healthcare plan for 2026. And it's not just, I'll get it in December 14th, because he's got a very full schedule of LFA family members that he's working with and getting a healthcare plan for 2026. So, insurityfinancialservices.com. That is insurityfinancialservices.com. Or call 602-391-8358. Make sure you contact Tim today. Set up a schedule with Tim today. Work on his 18 years of experience in the insurance agency and his lifelong goal to make sure he helps out another brother and sister in Christ. Reach out to Tim today for your healthcare Medicare plan for 2026. That is insurityfinancialservices.com. Or call 602-398-8358 today. Okay, let's go to the Lord in prayer. We just hit 1:15. Please join with me in saying the Lord's Prayer if you can. If you can't, then you can definitely say it quietly. I know some people might be at work. I want to thank Sylvia Fletcher, who just donated $50, said you are certainly appreciated, Eli and Jeremy. Awesome. Thank you so very much. Lucy Be Gone, a beautiful $10 donation, and Sean Maga. Funds getting low, but put this in the slush fund for those who need for Thanksgiving Day and Christmas. We will. We will. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Again, if you haven't been watching Rise Up lately, we've been talking about some very controversial things. Islam, Judaism, denominations, and prosperity preaching. Those are our last 4 shows. So if you've not been able to catch Rise Up live, it is available for you on its own stream right now, as well as Good Morning LFA. Those are part of the same stream when I do them in the morning. Now, sometimes some of the other hosts will do Good Morning LFA, and then it will be on its own stream. But I want to pop this up for you because some people are a little confused. Right here is the thumbnail for the all-day stream. This will also be the thumbnail for my show when the show is done. Just like this morning, the thumbnail was prosperity preaching right there. But now that show is available on its own. See, it only has 113 views so far. That show ended, and it became its own show. Right now, this show is on live, but when it's done, it will have this thumbnail to it, and you can watch this show by itself. And Sean's show that just got finished will be available any minute as well. That is how you go back and watch our shows without having to go back and watch the all-day stream, which then you have to rewind and fast forward through. It's almost impossible to do. Okay? Just wanted to help people in understanding how that works. All right, lift up your cups. Let's have our first slurp. Let's get busy. Here we go. Sean was right when he said this in the beginning of the show. Sean was right when he said, every time I hear the Epstein name, I think of Russia, 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 or I think of climate change, or I think of Donald Trump did this, or Donald Trump did that. At no point ever, when I hear the Epstein, 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 do I say to myself, oh my Lanta, it must be some crazy new reveal, okay? And I will preface this with saying this. Ask yourself, who is always saying Epstein? Who is always saying climate change? Who is always saying Russia, Russia, Russia? Who is always saying COVID? Who is always saying vaccine? Who is always saying Ukraine? Who is always saying any of these things? Who is it that you hear saying those things every single day? Because it's about time that we get some common sense back into things here. Look, when I was a retard, I could get 1 million views easily. When I was a drunk, I could get 1 million views easily. And all I had to do was pop on my phone, drink some bourbon, and drop F-bombs all the time. Anybody out there who is spewing stupidity, ignorance, and nonsense and negativity, those people are getting the biggest views right now. And common sense seems to be becoming less common. Now, we know that this audience has a lot of common sense, right? Who are the people that are saying those things? Oh, and let me add Jews into that. Who are the people that are saying that nonstop? I can't believe anything that I hear from the people that are screaming those topics constantly and fail to mention reality, okay? So yesterday, the Democrats on the Oversight Committee leaked some documents to the mainstream media about Epstein. I believe there was 23,000 documents. And in those 23,000 documents, they produced one document that was redacted, which we already know the name of the redaction because it was of public information months ago, years ago. And they came in, they redacted it, wrote the word victim over it, just to tie President Trump to Epstein once again in a way, in a fashion which was so misleading and such a lie, because the information that they leaked out and they redacted to make it look bad is information that's already been out that we've already had for years. But because they're losing the narrative, because they lost the government shutdown fight, because they cost Americans $1.5 trillion in that 40 days that they kept the government shut down, because the radical part of their party is taking over the Democratic Party, they needed something. They needed anything. So House Democrats released 23,000 documents, and they picked one page, of which we've already had, redacted Virginia Giuffre's name, put victim over it, and put it out and said, uh-oh. We got some new stuff out, folks. That's what you're hearing today. I want to play for you a little bit of that, and then we're going to show you exactly what they released, because it's all about receipts, not about who can scream the loudest. Okay? Let's go to that. Let's go to the first two clips.
Nation.
We actually just received all of these emails, with a total of about 23,000 documents, actually a few days ago, so last week, and we've been going through, our team, of course, through all of these very carefully over the last few days. We obviously released some today. We'll be releasing additional documents likely later today. The important thing here is that we know, and we've been demanding, that Donald Trump and the DOJ release the full Epstein files. In what's been released today, which obviously is some quite serious, I think, connections between what Donald Trump may have known. There's communication between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, obviously making some claims about Donald Trump spending significant time, hours, with possibly one of the victims. There's also disturbing emails there about Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. The people can read for themselves. I think what's important right now is that we want to know why Donald Trump's
Congressman, when did you get this information?
Hold on. So he said he got this information last week. And she said, and when are you going to be releasing this, that, and the other? He said, well, we released this. We'll be releasing some more. We got the information last week. We poured through it. This is what we found. And why is Donald Trump holding the Epstein list back. That's what he's saying. Even though they've had, 10 years to get it out. Watch how, as I go through this, you're going to see how incredibly stupid what we're talking about right now is. And you might say, then why are we talking about it? Because somebody got it right in the live chat. A dead pedophile will end up giving us a hard time in the midterms because of low IQ idiots. And what we do is we bring the receipts, period. We're going to finish this idiocy so we can build it up and then knock them down.
Entire campaign saying that he would release the files. And now that he's in the White House, there is a massive cover-up going on. The survivors deserve the truth. Spent the entire campaign.
The survivors deserve the truth. He spent the entire campaign telling us that he was going to release the full Epstein list. Well, why didn't you release it when he was on his campaign? Because you had it. So why didn't you release it? So what did they release? What is it that was so pressing that was released? Are you ready for this? Okay, here we go. Buckle in, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to get bumpy, right? Here is a message between Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein that says this. I want you to realize that the dog hasn't barked is Trump. Redacted, victim. This information's already been out. That redaction says Virginia Giuffre. Spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Okay? So what does the dog has barked mean? Well, I want to take you back to this. Remember when Mike Johnson said this and it sent the world into a frenzy? Because people said, wait a minute, Donald Trump was actually an informant trying to capture up and nab up Jeffrey Epstein? Listen to this.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago.
About President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him. President Trump, back in 2009 and several times after that, he didn't think that it was a hoax then. In fact, he helped me. He got on the phone. He told me things that were helping our investigation. Now, our investigation wasn't looking into him, but he was helping us then. He didn't treat this as a hoax. So at this point in time, I would hope that he would revert back to what he was saying to get elected, which is, I want transparency. This about face that occurred, none of us understand it. In fact, I don't understand how this is an issue that...
I understand it. I understand it. Everything that we have, we've always had. What we don't have has been destroyed by James Comey's daughter under Christopher Wray's leadership at the FBI. And the dog didn't bark is Trump not taking the bait. The left has come out and said, the dog didn't bark is Trump, and that means that Trump knew about the girls and he didn't say anything. No, the dog that didn't bark is Trump, who it looks more and more like what Mike Johnson said was true, was working to try to nab up Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein was trying to bait Donald Trump as another world powerful person, and Trump didn't take the bait. And when they said Trump knew about the girls, Trump knew about the girls at Mar-a-Lago that Jeffrey Epstein was trying to bring to Pedophile Island and booted him out of Mar-a-Lago. There's nothing new at all. Democrats intentionally redacted the names of the victim in the Epstein emails they released because the unredacted version shows that it was Virginia Giuffre. We already know that. And the reason why they redacted it was because they literally are trying to smear Trump in every way possible, shape or form right now. So they released something that we already had, but they redacted it. The oversight Democrats. President Trump did nothing. And Virginia Giuffre not only made a memoir about it, not only wrote about it, but gave sworn testimony about it, which we've had for years. When have you met him? At Mar-a-Lago. My dad and him. It's cut off there, we're friends, but my dad said him and Trump would talk all the time. Have you ever been in Donald Trump? See if it goes up on the other side. Have you ever been in Donald Trump and then it goes down to here? Epstein's present with one another? And the answer is no. And she corroborated the story about Mar-a-Lago and about Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein trying to poach her and bring her. And it was that when Donald Trump heard about the girls that he was trying to poach from him, kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. Now let's go to this. This is the redaction right here. Look at this. Victim, Mar-a-Lago. Redacted. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Knew about the girls and asked Ghislaine to stop what? Poaching and flirting with these girls at Mar-a-Lago. And now the Democrats are trying to say he knew about the girls that were being raped. And they put those redactions in, of which we already know whose name was there because we read that years ago. This girl breaks it down so great. Listen to what she said.
Some Epstein emails that mention Trump, and they think it has implicated him somehow. It hasn't. There were 3 emails that referenced Trump, allegedly. Here's the first email. So in 2011, Jeffrey Epstein was emailing Ghislaine Maxwell. Here's the second email. This is from Michael Wolff to Jeffrey Epstein on Tuesday, December 15, 2015. Michael Wolff is a journalist. The third email was in 2019. This is Epstein to Michael Wolff. So if they had these emails during the Biden DOJ, the Obama DOJ, why not release them? Why not use them to prevent Trump from running in 2016, 2020, or 2024? It's because there's nothing in them. There's nothing to tie Trump to any criminal activity at all. This proves more so that Democrats didn't give a F about the Epstein files or his victims until they thought Trump was in them. And again, we already knew that, but all of these emails and the timing of them just confirms that again. They do not care about the victims, they care about Trump. None of these implicate Trump in any way.
Yesterday, Eric Swalwell said this. If the current president slept with underage girls, should he be the president? Of which I typed, I don't know. Should a current sitting U.S. congressman who lied on his mortgage application, who is guilty of crimes, who slept with a Chinese spy, who ran off with American secrets because you were on the foreign affairs and oversight committees, should that disqualify you from being a congressman? Because those things we can actually prove. What you're saying is slander. And I hope Donald Trump sues you into oblivion. So Jasmine Crockett was actually cornered by CNN about this. Why redact the names when we already know who the names are? She's like, I don't know anything about that. Folks, do me a favor. Click that thumbs up and help me share out, okay? Here's Jasmine Crockett saying, getting cornered on, why did the Democrats redact the names?
This is an email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans are saying that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that? And can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand, but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth.
There you go. She got, I don't know anything about that, she says. I don't know anything about that. I want to thank you very much to Doris, one, for a $50 donation in the Rumble chat. God bless you. Thank you so very much, Doris. We appreciate you. So, what did that prompt? What did it prompt? Well, right here. Representative Mike Johnson announced a vote on the Epstein files for next week. The discharge petition gained momentum with the new representative who was just sworn in, Regalva, I think is how you pronounce her name, her signature. This marks a significant step in transparency regarding Epstein's associates. The vote follows bipartisan support for releasing the files. Lawmakers aim to shed light on Epstein's network and its implications. Okay, great, awesome. It's what everybody's wanted. Get rid of this stuff. Finally get rid of it. Be done with it. Find out who's in it, whatever we have. Representative Grival, whatever her name is, was the final lawmaker to sign the discharge petition. The vote is scheduled for next week in the House of Representatives. The discharge petition reflects growing bipartisan concern over the Epstein network. So you would think, okay, this is great. So what did Representative Tim Burchett do? Tim Burchett said, let's cut through all the mustard right now. Let's cut through all the BS right now. And this is what happened. Roll it.
Hey, everybody. Tim Burchett just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC unanimous consent of tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, to cut out all this nonsense. And, and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now, here they've had it for 4 years, and they obviously, if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it. And now they're all, let's get it out, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it. They blocked it. So this is politics. It has nothing to do with that, doing what's right. I mean, it's Washington, D.C. to a T. And again, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not. Thank y'all for sending me here.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Representative Tim Burchett put a motion on the floor, unanimous consent, a UC, and asked, let's get it out right now. Let's not wait till next week. Let's put a unanimous consent vote on the floor. Let's release it. Whatever there is left that Democrats have or Republicans have or anybody has, let's release it. And the Democrats blocked it. Now, why would they do that? A UC is unanimous consent. Do you know why they would do that? Because then they lose control over the narrative of what they can leak, what they can redact, what they can make look bad to the media. Isn't what everybody wants to get it out? Look, at this point, I'm all for getting it out just so we can move past the idea that Trump is doing anything or has done anything wrong. I like the thought of getting everything out because we want justice, but I don't think we're going to get justice because James Comey's daughter, Maureen Comey, already destroyed everything that's worth anything. And that's why nothing has ever been put out. Because there's been nobody to go after because they've destroyed anything that ties to anything that anybody could go after. So the Democrats literally blocked what they're screaming to do because it would mean that everything would be dumped out now and they wouldn't be able to do this, and this as they need to in order to regain the narrative of the week. That is how screwed up our country is. That is disgusting. But that's what they do. Now, what was in that 23,000 trove document that was let out was the fact that the emails released show that Jeffrey Epstein saying Lord Peter Mandelson was right to tell him to stay away from former Prince Andrew. Meaning there was a ton of stuff in there about Prince Andrew, who's still running around. Democrats in the House Oversight Committee participating in the review of the Jeffrey Epstein investigation and prosecution continue to try to will into existence damaging information against Donald Trump that's just not there. Trust me, if there was, the first person that would jump on that would be me, and I would be so mad, I would flip on that man in a second because there's no room for pedophilia anywhere. But yet, These Democrats have, with the help of the mainstream media, have been able to be so crafty at branding it that way that I can't drive anywhere with my truck without people that hate Trump calling me pedophile. Around the world, journalists and analysts are starting to dig into the treasure trove and come up with new chapters in the never-ending soap opera of the Epstein sex trafficking files. One of the first stories out of this document dump is another big humiliation to Prince Andrew, as an email reveals that Epstein told Lord Peter Mandelson, "You were right about staying away from Andrew." According to the documents first seen by the BBC, Epstein emailed Lord Mandelson 2 weeks after his birthday in 2016, writing the 63-year-old, "You made it. I have decided to extend my life by spending more of it in the U.S., Lord Mandelson responded. Epstein then replied, "In the Donald White House," then added, "You were right about staying away from Andrew." Another piece of news taken from the emails in 2011, Epstein admitted that the photo of Andrew with Virginia Giuffre was real. Quote, "Yes, she was on my plane, and yes, she had her picture taken with Andrew, as many of my employees have. Much more is expected to come out in the next dump, but Tim Burchett said don't keep dumping it out in pieces, dump it out altogether," and the Democrats said no. Now, speaking of the BBC, embattled BBC is prepared to apologize to President Trump for deceptively editing his January 6th speech as they try to avoid a $1 billion lawsuit. Let's get into this. The BBC blinks. Another fake news outlet bites the dust. And when somebody bites the dust here on LFA TV, we play the sound bite. Let's play the sound bite, shall we?
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust.
The once highly regarded British Broadcasting Corporation was already facing a trove of complaints about its biased news coverage when a whistleblower brought about the collapse of the leadership. He did it by showing the Beeb doctored the editing of Donald Trump's J6 speech to falsely suggest that the U.S. president was supporting violence during the D.C. riot, which was a Fedsurrection. So the state broadcaster was left with the choice of either apologizing or retracting the documentary allegations, or face a $1 billion lawsuit from President Trump. For more on that, let's go to our great press secretary, Caroline Levitt.
In our new media seat, we have Bev Turner, who works for a new outlet, a UK outlet, but based here in Washington, D.C., GB News. Bev, thank you for being here today. Why don't you kick us off?
Thank you, Caroline. So the clock is ticking on the Friday deadline by which the BBC must retract and apologise for their malicious edit of the president in the documentary shown last year. The recently resigned Director General of the BBC yesterday described the organisation as the very best of society and blamed the enemies of the BBC for this outcome. Also yesterday, a senior government minister launched a fierce defence of the channel in the House of Commons, saying that the broadcaster remains a light on the hill for people all over the world. So, does the president feel that the network is taking the situation seriously? Does he believe that they've shown sufficient regret? Does this strain the relationship between the president and the prime minister? And given that the organisation is publicly funded, is the president prepared to bankrupt the BBC in his pursuit of truth and justice?
Well, thank you, Bev. There's a lot of questions in one there. I will say I know the president has a very good relationship with Prime Minister Starmer. You have been there. You've seen them in their interactions. You've questioned both leaders in your time joining us when we've gone to the United Kingdom a few different times now. However, he has always been very frank when he disagrees with leaders, even whom he has a good relationship with. And the BBC, being a fair news organization, is definitely an outlet I think these two leaders would disagree. The president has made it very clear that this is a leftist propaganda machine that is unfortunately subsidized by British taxpayers, and he thinks that's extremely unfortunate for the great people of the United Kingdom and Great Britain. And I think that the president was deeply concerned by the editing, the purposeful and dishonest editing of his speech that was so clearly fake news. And he rightfully dubbed that term many years ago. And this is a classic example of that. We see it in the United States all the time. We see it now in the United Kingdom. As you know, the president's external legal counsel has filed a lawsuit against the BBC. We expect that to continue. And whether they apologize or not is up to them. Thanks for being here, Beth.
I say President Trump, sue him into oblivion. Don't take their apology. They're only going to apologize because they don't want to pay that much money. They don't want to be bankrupt. I say sue him into oblivion. Don't even mess around. Take their apology and sue him anyway. They should apologize for doing something wrong, but there should also be consequences. If I do something wrong, I have to apologize. If I do something wrong, I have to repent. And there are consequences for actions. Producer Eli, sue them into oblivion or take their apology?
Sue them into oblivion. They're going to apologize just to get out of it, and then they're going to do it again, and you're going to be right back in this same scenario.
That's
Sue
right.
them.
That's right.
Take all their money. Take from them everything.
And read from them nothing. Now, speaking of British people, the Osborne family, Ozzy Osbourne's family, whom at least the daughter has been very critical of Donald Trump. The son has been very critical of Donald Trump. But I believe Sharon Osbourne has a somewhat decent relationship with President Trump. But I wonder what the family thinks after this.
I mean, should we play the voicemail?
Yeah.
Not saying who it's from. Everyone will know.
The daughter hates it.
Hi, Sharon. It's Donald Trump, and I just wanted to wish you the best and the family of great. Ozzy was amazing. He was an amazing guy. I met him a few times, and I want to tell you, he was unique in every way and talented. So I just wanted to wish you the best, and it's a tough thing. I know how close you were, and whatever I can do, take care of yourself. Say hello to the family. Thanks. Bye.
Love him or hate him, he didn't have to call and leave a voicemail.
Listen.
Look at her.
When it comes to politics, we know nobody comes out a winner.
You see the daughter? Now, Eli, wasn't the daughter who looks very sickly there, who looks like she snorts Ozempic for a hobby? Wasn't she on The View talking about how there will be nobody to pick our crops and wash our toilets because of Donald Trump?
Yeah, she sure was, and she was directly talking about Mexicans, and every freaking member of The View was like, whoa, 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 and she was like, well, you know what I mean, They're like, no, we really don't. Let's go to commercial.
Yep, she's been very critical of Donald Trump, but Sharon, I believe, is an ally to President Trump. I believe Ozzy was as well. I'm not, I didn't watch them over the years as he got older and really bad. Everybody watched them when they first started doing the reality show, but people said that sounded nothing like DJT. I don't know how it didn't. I don't know how it didn't. I mean, really? It didn't sound like Donald? Really? Let's go back to it. Let's listen again, shall we?
I mean, should we play the voicemail?
Yeah.
Because Trump said he did it, so I don't know why.
Not saying who it's from. Everyone will know.
Hi, Sharon. It's Donald Trump, and I just wanted to wish you the best and the family of great. Ozzy was amazing. He was an amazing guy. I met him a few times, and I want to tell you, he was unique in every way and talented. So I just wanted to wish you the best, and it's a tough thing. I know how close you were, and whatever I can do, take care of yourself. Say hello to the family. Thanks. Bye.
All right, here's the thing. A lot of people are used to hearing Donald Trump on a microphone, a boom mic, but when you're talking on a phone over voicemail, it's going to sound a little less professional. It's going to sound a little bit more raw. I can see where somebody would say that. But even Trump said that he reached out to the Ozzy family. And that's probably what he was referring to right there.
It was over the phone. It was a voicemail. It was definitely him. He was solemn in this moment.
Exactly.
He wasn't fanfare Donald Trump. He wasn't, oh, we're going to do this. Oh, this is going to be great. He was just real Donald Trump at that,
Yeah.
which doesn't happen very often, because he doesn't get a chance to be himself very often. But that was the real him.
Yeah, and like Alin 46 said in here, it was personal. Folks, we're almost up over 4,000. I know there's not a lot of people in here today compared to normal, but, we all do our part. That'll happen. So let's now shift gears into the government opening up. The House voted to end the Schumer shutdown, passing the government funding bill 222 to 209. Trump signed the bill, but not without signing it on his own terms, saying what he wanted to say about the bill. There's a couple problems I have with the bill. I don't know if you guys know about these problems or not. One of these well, you know what? Let's go ahead and read the bill. Let's go ahead and read about the government opening up, and then we'll get to the problems that I have because the Senate snuck things in there that they shouldn't have. It should have been a clean CR period, and nobody should have folded on that. And I know the Republicans are like, yeah, but we got to open up the government. We'll go afterwards and take these things out. I don't like that, okay? 6 Democrats voted yes in the House. President Trump was scheduled to sign the bill at 9:45 last night, which we'll show you. The House of Representatives passed it with a 222 to 209 vote. I was gonna play Caroline Leavitt, but she talked earlier in the day, so there's no need to go back into that. Okay. Let's get to President Trump speaking on it again, signing it on his terms. Not anybody else's, saying what needed to be said, I think. Roll it.
A clear message that we will never give in to extortion, because that's what it was. They tried to extort. The Democrats tried to extort our country. In just a moment, I'll sign a bill exactly like we asked Democrats to send us all along, many days ago. This cost the country $1.5 trillion, this little excursion that they took us on. Today, we're sending a clear message.
You like that? $1.5 trillion. The Democrats cost us by their little excursion, Donald Trump said, that they took us on. That's exactly right. A $1.5 trillion, I hate Trump and I want to throw a tantrum. Now, do you know what they got in that bill? They got 4 things of which I don't like. Did they get ACA extended? No. That means Obamacare. Did they get their beloved Obamacare extended? No, they did not. Did they get $1.5 trillion for illegal health care? No, they did not. What did they get then? Well, I'm going to tell you what they got. They got a little, the Senate put a little thing in there that said, no future president will be able to fire people during a government shutdown again. Don't like that. Number 2, the people that were fired during that government shutdown, they put back in there that have to get their job, basically get their jobs back with the back pay that they lost. Don't like that. Number 3, and this is the one that I really don't like because of who voted for it. You ready for this? Representative Anna Paulina Luna put out a tweet. We're going to bring it up for you here, and we're all going to read it together. How about that? One thing about Anna Paulina Luna, she brings the receipts, and she's not a liar. Here we go. These senators slipped in a provision to reopen the government that guarantees them $500,000 if the DOJ settles their Arctic frost lawsuit. Basically meaning that these guys are going to basically make $500,000 if the DOJ settles the Arctic frost lawsuit, which they're absolutely expected to do. And we're supposed to be okay with that, says Anna Paulina Luna. What about J6? This is outrageous. Really disappointed to see some of the names on this list. You can't self-deal like this, meaning if you're the House, self-dealing. Especially not by weaponizing a government shutdown. Absolutely ridiculous at leader John Thune. The 8 senators who voted for this, Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, they're all Republican. Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Bill Hagerty of Tennessee. Josh Hawley of Missouri. Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. Cynthia Loomis of Wyoming. Senator Dan Sullivan of Alaska. And Tommy Tuberville of Alabama. This pisses me off. Now, this isn't a life-ending thing that we're going to have to deal with, right? At least Obamacare didn't get extended, right? At least $1.5 trillion of health care isn't going to illegal aliens, right? I'll agree on that. But why allow anything? And why guarantee yourself $500,000, senators? Is it because you were caught up in that Arctic frost violation of your Fourth Amendment right? Well, what about the violation of my Fourth Amendment right? What about the violation of my First Amendment right? I still have a Facebook page with 500,000 people plus on it that I don't have access to. What about the violation of all the January 6th people who were stuck in that gulag? What about their violation of First Amendment right, Second Amendment right, Third Amendment right, Fourth Amendment right, and more? Why? Now, Mike Johnson came out and said that these things that they snuck in, he doesn't want them to slow down the opening of the government, because the longer the government stays shut down, the hundreds and billions and hundreds of billions of dollars that cost the United States racks up. He's right about that. He's right about that. But why not come out and say that right away? Why not come out and say, here's what they slipped in, here's what they slipped in, here's what they slipped in, and then have a vote on the House floor whether or not to accept that or not. Not a vote whether or not to open it up or not. Have a vote on whether or not to accept that or not. Do we accept this, or should we send it back and say, too bad, so sad, send us a clean CR like we sent you? This is John Thune in the Senate. And that is Republican senators who want to get $500,000 for the crap that they went through because of Jack Smith. Well, what about the crap that we went through? I could use $500,000. Eli, could you use $500,000?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that could solve a few problems here and there.
Yeah, that might be nice. I'm sure that Bad Moon and B-Hops and Terry and Ultramaga Warrior and Bobby Driver and Kathy and R-Star and Deb Paulin and Dane's X and P. Palumbo and Jedi Legend Ryu and Mateo, I bet you guys could all use $500,000. Huh? Wouldn't that be nice? The senators are making sure they get it. And look, I'm not even big mad over the fact that in the future people can't be fired during a government shutdown. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's stupid. But I think in the grand scheme of things, if that was what we gave up, but this too? Are you kidding me? Now, Johnson says that he's going to go back and take those things back out because you won't need 60 votes to take some of these things out. That you'll just need a simple majority rule. Yeah, well, I don't really care. I don't really trust Mike Johnson that much to do that. Do you? So those are problems that I have. I don't want things put back into the CR. I'm sure you don't either. It's a clean resolution or it's a dirty resolution. B-Hop says you're overreacting, Jeremy. You know what they say about opinions. Now, here's somebody else who's mad that we reopened the government, but for very different reasons.
I think it's important that we understand that this is not just about Senator Schumer, but that this is about the Democratic Party. Senator Schumer, there's no one vote that ended this shutdown. We are talking about a coordinated effort of 8 senators with the knowledge of Leader Schumer voting to break with the entire Democratic Party in exchange for nothing.
Well, not in exchange for nothing. Not in exchange for nothing. And she is right about something. With the knowledge of Chuck Schumer that these 8 were going to defect and break from him. Here's the thing that she didn't mention. It was completely orchestrated by Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer built this whole idea of defecting, having 8 senators defect, and then blame them for opening up the government and saying, we're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to fight. Look, it's either a clean CR or it's a dirty CR. But here's the thing. A lot of people in the chat are saying, why did President Trump sign it? Why do you think he signed it? Answer me that question, and I'll give you my answer. I'll pull up the Rumble chat, and let me ask you, why do you think that he signed it? And there's only one answer here. There's only one. especially been following President Trump as long as we all have. Let's pull it up here. See what you guys say. Why did President Trump sign it? R-Star says, I think he was misled. I don't. He knew what was in there. And he didn't do it for the... There you go. There you go. You guys got it right. For the people. To feed the people. To give people back their paychecks before the holiday season. To make sure that nobody stayed broke. To pay our military. To fund WIC. To fund those hungry bellies that were starving. Absolutely. To President Trump, making sure that the people that were hurt because of these Democrats were okay was more important to him than giving back the jobs of people he fired during the shutdown, which none of you could even name one job he fired. So to really get that mad over that, name me person he fired, or else don't get mad at that. Can't be too mad at that when you can't name one name. And making sure that people got their pay and making sure that people didn't go hungry through the holidays was more important to him than these senators getting a $500,000 kickback for something that they were wronged about. But does that wrong give them $500,000 when all of us have been violated in the same way, if not worse? And I'll recuse myself from that, and I'll just say, what about the January 6ers? Can each of them get $500,000 for their rights being destroyed by a weaponized government? That would be nice. It would have been really nice if Haggerty and Hawley and Blackburn and Graham and Johnson and all of the others, it would be really nice if what they put in there was, hey, give the January 6ers $500,000. I would be okay with that one. But it's always self-serving. And like Anna Pauline and Luna said, the House can't deal for itself. The dealer can't deal to himself. And that's exactly what these senators did. They didn't care. They didn't care about everybody else like President Trump did. So President Trump gets the legislation on his desk. What's he supposed to do? Because if he doesn't sign it, every news outlet on this planet, including foreign news, and the Democrats would ride on that. See, President Trump is responsible. He had the opportunity to open up the government. He had legislation on his desk, and he is going to let X, Y, and Z stop him from feeding these people, getting these people their paychecks, getting the military paid. He doesn't care about the troops. He doesn't care about the people. Then all of a sudden, hey, dummies, the 60-vote threshold is what shut the government down and what's stopping these people from getting paid. Shifts to President Trump didn't sign his name on that paper. That's why he signed that. That's why he signed that legislation. Eli, I see you shaking your head over there. You want something to say?
It's probably going to spark one of those weird debates between us where I end up throwing the F-bomb at you. But I'm sorry, man. I'm just wildly confused. See, it goes back to my whole, there's doing things the right way and then there's just doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how it's so complicated for our government to pay the people who need to be paid or feed the people who need to be fed. And it just blows my mind. You just do it. You just do it. You know how we just send $200 billion to Ukraine? You know how we just send money all over the world to help everyone just like that? And all I ever hear from both sides, actually, Republicans and Democrats, mostly Democrats, but we're trying to get the health care thing. We're trying. It's been years now, and we've never had this great health care. Why is this so hard? Just do it. If I were President Trump, I wouldn't have been facing all the backlash and all those problems from the media because I would have said, screw you guys. You're not getting your trillions of dollars. You're not getting $500,000. We're opening the government. We're feeding people. We're paying people, and you can sit and spin on it. Why is that so difficult? I think everyone would see him as a hero at that point.
So who are you mad at, the Congress or Trump?
I guess all of them collectively. You know, I'm not trying to single one person out. They're all kind of bouncing around, just, I don't know, to me, you know, just doing, I don't know. Why does everything have to be so complicated in the government? Well, you can't have this unless we get this. We can't do this unless you do this. It's real simple to feed people and pay people for the jobs that they do for the government.
Well, there you go. Producer Eli, everybody. Now here, in response to AOC crying that the government got opened because she wants communist socialism to reign free and take over the Democratic Party, Chris Cuomo says to John Fetterman, are you guys going to give up your party to a bunch of communists and socialists?
Do you believe that this may be, at least in part, about your party changing and the populist movement in reaction to MAGA and the Democratic Socialists, that this may be a moment where they want to take over the Democratic Party?
I promise you, America's future and my party's future is not socialism or kinds of outlandish far left kinds of ideas. And it's been a year ago, after we lost the election, a lot of those parts and part of those ideas pushed our party over the cliff. And that's why we're in this situation right now. That's why we're firmly in the minority. And that's why we've lost control of the White House. So some people, if you think that's a solution, that's fine, but it's going to be a competition of ideas, and we know that's not going to prevail. What's going to prevail is common sense. What's going to prevail, choosing this country over, part of the extreme in our party. What's going to prevail is common sense, and I do believe, for me, in the kinds of chaos that we have in this Trump administration, we should respond with order and logic and patriotism, and not shutting down our government right now. And that's where I'm at. And I don't know why that's controversial. That's not a big tent party. If you're not allowed to have the opinion that it's wrong to shut our government down and put these people in the middle of it and now referred to as you're a traitor, or, saying all these other kinds of labels.
It's so weird to hear John Fetterman speak so much this week and be so much more somewhat coherent than both Republicans and Democrats. Somewhat coherent, I should say. Somewhat. Now, I want to get back to Brooke Rollins, who talked about during this government shutdown and during this snap fight, she found over 5,000 people who were dead, who were getting snap 2 times under the same name.
20 plus others did not, and we're suing. We're in a litigation right now. But of the 29 that complied, what we have found is staggering. 500,000 people getting benefits 2 times under the same name. 5,000 dead people. 80% of the able-bodied Americans, meaning they can work, they don't have small children at home, they're not taking care of an elderly parent, they can work and they choose not to work, of course, because they're getting significant benefits from the taxpayer. So this light, Laura, that has now been shined on what is perhaps one of the most corrupt, dysfunctional programs in American history, that we are working now. Very big announcements coming next week on this. We are cracking down. We now have a plan to fix it, and we're really, really excited about doing that for the American people.
So this has been going on for many years. I mean, I think I covered this on the radio
in 20.
I can't stand Laura Ingraham, to be honest with you. But anyway, Brooke Rollins coming out with, we found 5,000 dead people. It's like, finding 5,000 dead people voting. It's like they're everywhere. Now, Eli, I'm gonna respond now to what you said about why can't we? Why can't we just? I would love that too. I would love the why can't we just approach. I would love that. Here's the thing. This country is massive, number one. It's 50 collective sovereign states in a united nation, which is the only of its kind. It's why it's called the Great Experiment. What you and I would like, Eli, is something that a lot of people might frown on. It's called authoritarian government. For President Trump to do what you and I want him to do, you would have to get rid of the government that we have, the government that we built, and the government for and by the people, since it's not really for and by the people anymore like it should be, and you'd have to go full authoritarian. And the problem with going full authoritarian is that you never even come remotely back to where we are even right now. And where we're bad right now, if you think about it, those safeguards, because you have 50 sovereign states, have saved our ass in the past from becoming a full communist country. So I understand, let's just do the right thing and do it now. But if we go there, if we go full authoritarian and just do what we want and do it now, we will be that much closer to never coming back. Now, the Democrats will do that if they ever get 3 houses back, which is why, in order to save this precious country of ours, we have got to get rid of the filibuster. At least the filibuster will bring us back to a majority rule. And if we can get back to a majority rule, then these collective 50 states by the way, which we have more red states that are Republican than blue states, then we can get us back to the way we're supposed to be. So I think instead of just do what we want and do it now, get rid of the filibuster and you get as close to doing what you want and doing it now without crossing over to authoritarian, if that makes any sense.
It does. I completely and totally get where you're coming from. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's a catch-22. Can you call it authoritarianism if you're just doing really, really, really nice things for the people that you watch over? It's why we hired these people to do the damn jobs in the first place. And the great experiment, we're 250 plus years into this country. You'd think the experiment would have ended by now and we would have the perfect system for the people. But still, it's this two-party, I want this, you want that, we're going to fight and we're going to argue while people suffer crap. And that's just the part that frustrates me the most.
Well, the perfect system only exists in heaven. And when you're dealing with flawed men and greed and sex and lust and power and money, then you got to work with what you got. And the great experiment is, how do we continue to keep that going for the people of the nation more than the authoritarian rulers of the nation? We're close. We're ever so close getting to it, authoritarian on both sides. But if we're just having a civics conversation here, then that's what I would argue back with. And you thought I was going to come down on you like a hail of gunfire.
I was ready. Oh, I was ready.
I want to say hello to LREGNOS, El Agrinos. We see you. We know you're ignorant. We know you're stupid. We're keeping an eye on you, like the FBI keeps an eye on trans crazy people, and we'll nuke you when you need to be nuked. Other than that, shut your mouth, know your role, and pay attention. You might just learn something. All right. As we continue here, I want to talk about Chef IQ. Chef IQ, take away the stress of all your holiday cooking and all of your everyday cooking with Chef IQ, America's favorite wireless meat thermometer. All you have to do is, when you order this set of thermometers, is set them to your phone, Bluetooth them to your phone, download the Chef IQ app, and when you do that, whether you're cooking ham, whether you're cooking bird, whether you're turkey, whether you're cooking chicken, whether you're cooking pork, whether you're baking, it doesn't matter what you have in that oven. This thermometer will cook whatever it is in the oven to the perfect temperature that you want it. You want it medium rare? It's going to be perfect medium rare. It's like when you go out to a 5-star restaurant right in your home. You want it cooked to well done? It's going to be cooked to perfect well done. It's going to continue to give you updates of where the cooking is at that certain point. And when it alerts you it's done, that's when you go take it out. No more opening up the oven and opening up the meat to see if it's cooked all the way through. It doesn't happen anymore. It takes the stress and it takes the complication out of cooking so that you don't undercook or overcook something. Chef IQ. And now Chef IQ is offering 30% off for the holidays. We have 3 sets of these in my house. We have an outdoor set for the grill. We have an indoor set for the stove, and then we have another set because we were given that set by Chef IQ in order to promote them. But we ended up going and getting 2 more sets because we loved them so much. 30% off for the holidays by going to chefiq.com. Promo code LFA at checkout. That is chefiq.com. Promo code LFA at checkout. 30% off for the holidays today. It's a favorite in my house, and I know it'll be a favorite in your house as well. chefiq.com. Promo code LFA, 30% off. We had a few people in the chat say they ordered 2 sets yesterday, so thank you very much. Also, we do it together every single day. What am I talking about? Armor Colostrum. 400 plus bionutrients in every Armor Colostrum jar that you get. It is a powder substance, as you can see. It is a powder substance, which you can dry scoop like I do, or you can put it in your smoothie, you can put it in your drink, your breakfast drink, whatever it is that you have, and you are going to put 400 plus bionutrients in your body that helps you regrow hair, and it works. That helps your nails, toenails, and fingernails grow healthy and get rid of any fungus, and it works. Get rid of bloating, heartburn, and acid reflux, and it works. And energize you, because the same stuff that Armra colostrum, which is the leader in colostrum is what you got as a baby when you had mother's milk, that gave your immune system the boost that it needed to be a strong kid and to fight off bacteria. That's why when you were a kid, you hardly ever got sick. So bottoms up. I'm down the hatch. Now you can get yourself a big discount. How you doing, Jamie? Jamie said just stopping in to say hi. Good to see you, Jamie. You can get yourself a big discount right now by going to tryarmor.com and using the promo code LFATV at checkout. That's tryarmor.com. You can either go to /LFATV or just tryarmor.com, but you have to use the promo code when you check out, and you have to click the apply button. If you don't do that, you don't get your discount, okay? Tryarmor.com. Promo code LFATV. All of these links are in the description of this channel under the Show More section right under the video itself, okay? All right. Thank you, Suzanne. Appreciate that. We just broke 4,000 live people. We appreciate you guys being here. If you're just jumping in, make sure you give us a like. Make sure you give us a share. The Trump administration moves to protect U.S. taxpayers. Watch this. Eli, you're going to like this. Foreign visa seekers from now on, as soon as he gets this done, with costly medical conditions like diabetes or obesity, may be denied entry into the United States under this new directive to save the taxpayer from funding these people's sicknesses, illnesses, diseases, hospital visits, medications, therapies, and more. I support this. But I also support losing weight myself. So I'm not just going to pick on the fat people that are outside the country. We got to get healthy here too, which is what we're trying to do. Harder as you get older. The Trump administration has quietly issued a sweeping directive instructing U.S. embassies and consulates worldwide to tighten visa issuance standards for applicants with costly medical conditions. Okay? The new policy will give visa officers discretion to deny individuals with conditions such as diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, and mental health disorders if their lifetime care is deemed likely to become a burden to the United States taxpayer. According to KFF Health News, the U.S. Department of State reportedly instructs consular officers to assess whether visa applicants, and in some cases their dependents, could become a public charge due to medical costs over their expected lifespan. Conditions flagged in the guidance include, but are not limited to, the following: cardiovascular diseases, respiratory diseases, cancers, diabetes and metabolic diseases, neurological or mental health disorders, obesity explicitly mentioned as a red flag due to its connection to sleep apnea, asthma, hypertension, and other expensive conditions. Quoting, does the applicant have adequate financial resources to cover the costs of such care over his or her lifetime without seeking public cash assistance or long-term institutionalization at government expense, the guidance asks. Quote, self-sufficiency has been a long-standing principle of U.S. immigration policy, and public charge ground of inadmissibility has been a part of our immigration law for more than 100 years, end quote. The Trump administration frames this directive as a taxpayer protection measure. A spokesman for the State Department said, it's no secret, the Trump administration is putting the interests of the American people first. This includes enforcing policies that ensure our immigration system is not a burden to the American taxpayer. How many of you agree with this? Do you think this is a good directive for people trying to come into our country, not people that are already here like us, but for people trying to get visas to come into this country? Do you think it's a good directive policy by President Trump, or do you think it's a bad directive policy move by President Trump? I'm going to say it's a good one. I'm going to say anything that costs the American taxpayer less, great. Let us worry about our health here in America. We don't need to worry about your health coming to America. Okay? And just reading here, I don't see too many people say that it's a bad thing. I see most people, actually all people, saying, yes, it's a good policy by President Trump. And I tend to agree with that. I think it's a great policy, actually. Kayla says, I work 5 days a week just to try to stay healthy, and then I try my best to make sure I'm getting veggies. Fruit is not hard for me. I love it, and I am still falling apart. Well, you know, there are things out there like Field of Greens, which I actively still drink as well, even though we're not in a campaign promotion for them. Field of Greens will help you get that daily green, so that's very important. JM says, it is a very good policy. You should be able to just stick your finger through it. Oh, said B-Hop. She's probably talking about cooking. Oh, yeah, okay. You're talking about cooking. Okay. Health for healthy. Meds for those who wish to feel terrible. I want 1 million deported a month, said Tired. Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Moving right along. Did you guys hear about Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff? If you didn't, buckle up. Christina Layla wrote this story. Let's read it. Governor Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff was arrested by the FBI in a public corruption probe. The feds charged Dana Williamson and other co-conspirators with 23 counts of obstruction of justice, false statements, bank and wire fraud, and more on Wednesday, according to the indictment by the Sacramento Bee. Williamson, who left the governor's office in December of 2024, so it was just not even a year ago, is named along with Greg Campbell, Sean McCluskey, and 2 others in a conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud. There are 23 counts in total. The 18 bank and wire fraud charges each carry a maximum of 20 years in prison and up to $250,000 in fines. Newsom's office desperately distanced themselves from this scandal. I want to stop right here for a second. This chief of staff, who's been roped up now in all of these federal charges on fraud and much more, wire fraud and much more, do you think that Governor Newsom didn't A, know about it, or B, involved in his own? Do you think that Governor Newsom is out there being about as transparent as a glass window on a clean day? Out there just working hard for the people of California, and he didn't know about this, his chief of staff involved in all of this? Here's something even more. Do you think Gavin Newsom is not involved in all of this? There's already been questionable purchases of homes in his wife's name, home and charity's name that they belong to and that they're the board of. So here's the next question. Will the FBI use Mr. Williamson and his co-conspirators and get them to flip on something about Gavin Newsom that we can open up criminal investigations on him? Is this a way to work their way up to Gavin Newsom a week after President Trump said that Gavin Newsom is being investigated and should face criminal charges? That's the question. I believe they will flip. If there's anything to flip about, they will flip. But according to court documents, between February of 22 and September of 24, Williamson conspired with others to divert approximately $250,000 in funds from a dormant political campaign to an associate's personal use. Now, isn't this what Gavin Newsom is doing with Prop 50? Isn't he redirecting Prop 50 money into a personal campaign fund for himself? Isn't this the blueprint for what Gavin Newsom is doing right now with donations for Prop 50? It's exactly what he's doing. So maybe this is a way to go after Gavin Newsom. Collectively, they funneled the money through various business entities. Same thing that Gavin Newsom does with his wife and their house purchases, their real estate purchases, and disguised it as pay for what was, in reality, a no-show job. The indictment also alleges that Williamson conspired with a business associate to create false backdated contracts after receiving a civil subpoena in January of 24 from U.S. Attorney's Office regarding Paycheck Protection Program, PPP loans, right? Of which Nancy Pelosi and her husband both got a crap ton of. Maybe, just maybe, folks, all of these people that are going down at a lower level are just building blocks and foundation blocks for President Trump to go after all of these bigger names and take them all out in one fell swoop in the next couple of years. Let's hope that's the case. I don't know, but it seems to be it's building for something. They're not just going after all these low-level people without focusing on these higher-level people, especially if they're saying things like they're criminals and they're being under criminal investigation right now.
These federal officials have charged former chief of staff to Governor Gavin Newsom, Dana Williamson, with public corruption, fraud, obstruction of justice, and tax crimes. The 23-count indictment accuses Williamson of conspiring to divert nearly $250,000 from a dormant political campaign to an associate's personal use. The indictment also alleges that Williamson filed false tax returns claiming more than $1 million in business deductions for personal expenses, including a private jet and luxury hotel stays. She is set to make an appearance in a Sacramento federal courthouse later this afternoon. Williamson left the governor's office in December 2024. A spokesperson for Newsom issued a statement saying, quote, "While we are still learning details of the allegations, the governor expects all public servants to uphold the highest standards of integrity at a time when the president is openly calling for his attorney general to investigate his political enemies. It is especially important to honor the American principle of being innocent until proven guilty in a court of law by a jury of one's peers." Breaking news.
All right. Do you know how you ensure that James Comey, people like Letitia James, people like Governor Gavin Newsom, do you know how you ensure that they go to prison? And do you know how to ensure a way to not have the half of this country, the left of this country, say, oh, this is just a weaponization of government? You get their own people to flip on them. Something that the people that were going after Trump were not able to do. The person that came closest was Jenna Ellis. That's the person who came closest, and Donald Trump pardoned her. So just last week, or just this week, with Rudy Giuliani and others, one thing that President Trump did not have trying to prosecute President Trump is somebody to flip on President Trump and testify against him. They didn't have that. So that's why you can easily say that was a weaponized government. But in these cases, you've got people like James Clapper. You've got people like Williamson here, who was the former chief of staff to Governor Newsom. And the way that, I will say, the way this Justice Department and this FBI is building these big names up to fall, to get the ladder pulled out from under them, is that they're doing it because they're getting people to flip, just like you do the mafia. So if you get Williamson on a stand saying, yeah, Governor Gavin Newsom knew about this. We did X, Y, and Z together. Here's the receipts. Here's the proof. All of a sudden, you lock these people up for as long as the law allows, right? You get James Clapper on a stand to say, yeah, James Comey did this. John Brennan did this. Hillary Clinton did this. I was in the room when they did it. Why do you think that we're not getting indictments on Clapper? We've got an indictment on Comey. We've got an indictment coming for Brennan. We've got indictments coming for Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, right? Why do you think we've not heard anything about James Clapper? He's right in the middle of it. As a matter of fact, JC could be James Clapper, although we know it's Jim Comey, but it could be, so why not at least have him in the mix of questioning? Why don't we hear about him? Why isn't CNN doing interviews with him? Why isn't MSNBC, ABC, CBS, 60 Minutes, all them? Why aren't they doing interviews with James Clapper? I'll tell you why. Because he's singing like a bird right now. And when this is all said and done, mark my words, James Clapper will either be a witness giving testimony, or he will sign affidavits to that effect. You watch. It's so easy to see what these people are doing when you live it, breathe it, and watch it every single day. Now, speaking of this talk with my hands scumbag, Gavin Newsom, 17,000 CDLs were given to illegal aliens so far that we know of by the state of California. And some of those illegal aliens, DUIs, some killed people. So who's going to be held responsible for that? California's Department of Motor Vehicles has confessed to illegally handing out 17,000 non-domiciled commercial driver's license to dangerous foreign drivers who have no business operating massive semi-trucks or school buses or cars for that matter on American roads. According to the U.S. Department of Transportation, Secretary Sean P. Duffy, the discovery came as part of an ongoing audit by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, which is the FMCSA. According to the Department of Transportation, each of the 17,000 CDL holders had been issued notice that their license will expire within 60 days as it no longer meets federal requirements. FMCSA is now requiring the California DMV to hand over a full audit of all non-domiciled CDLs to verify that every unlawfully issued license is revoked and that the state corrects the system failures that allowed this fraud to occur. Okay, if the state allowed this fraud to occur, and if the state illegally issued these driver's licenses, then why is it the state only has to revoke them? Why isn't somebody charged? And maybe they will be. But when I get these stories to report, I want to see names attached to them so I can report names to you, because you want to know why? You guys in the comment thread are going to be going, who's going to be held responsible? Federal auditors found that over 1 in 4 foreign driver records sampled in California failed to comply with federal law, including CDLs that extended beyond the expiration of the foreign worker's visa, a blatant violation of federal safety regulations, right? So somebody's violating that. It can't just be the driver. The driver's doing what they think they have legal precedent to do. Who gave them that idea? Who gave them that legal precedent information that is clearly wrong? How you doing, Clee Sully? Good to see you. This is just the tip of the iceberg. My team will continue to force California to prove that they have removed every illegal alien from behind the wheel of semi-trucks and school buses, says Sean Duffy. Notices have been issued to 17,000 CDL holders that their license will expire in 60 days. Why 60 days? Why not now? Why not if you get this letter in the mail and you are operating, you are already illegal? Why give them 60 days? They can't even read the letter anyway. No comprendo. No comprendo. No sé. Where I will agree with Eli is where I don't agree with him going full authoritarian. I do agree with stop giving these people an inch. Because if you give them an inch, they take a mile. Stop giving them a cushion. Stop giving a leeway. Okay? President Trump said, you can deport yourself through the CBP One app and get $1,000, or if we deport you, you can never come back to this country again. That's a good either or. Why don't we just continue to do that stuff? I don't like the 60-day cushion. You got 60 days. These people can't read English anyway. We've already proved that. Immediate revocation. Immediate revocation. Eli, I'll agree with you on that one.
Yeah, it's not only stupid what they're doing. It's like a warning. I wonder who came up with it. Did Pam Bondi come up with this idea? Don't do it. Don't drive anymore.
No.
This letter says you can't drive anymore because you can't drive. This is warning them. Now they're going to run. They're going to scatter. We're not going to know where to find them. Oh, my.
Well, I mean, this is only a license issue. This is like people who, have visa issues, and so it's a license. We'll still be able to find them. But here's the thing. Why aren't they deported? Here's the thing. They have a driver's license, right? That means they have an address, right? Hand deliver the letter and say, here's your letter saying your license is revoked, and here's a warrant for your arrest to deport you. Instead of sending them a letter saying, hey, you have 60 days to not drive, how about you just show up? Jose illegal? Yeah. This one right here says you don't have a license. This one right here is a warrant for your apprehension and your deportation. Get in the back of the truck, Jose. Or Ching Chong, or whatever your name is.
I got 60 days to not drive. I think I've got 60 days to drive.
There it is. There it is. Well, I better get some work done. I got 60 days to drive. Unreal. Biden appointed judge. Want to see this guy? Here he is right here. Hi, I'm the face of I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I am DEI. Not because I'm black, because I have communist ideology. Thank you, everyone. Biden judge poised to order, ready for this, mass release of illegal aliens detained at the ICE Operation Blitz in Chicago. Meaning that if the Trump administration did abide by this law, this ruling, which they won't at all, that thousands of illegal aliens, dangerous ones at that, would be immediately released on the streets of Chicago. And Governor Pritzker and Brandon Johnson are calling for it. Imagine. Taxpayers in Chicago. Imagine. For 5 seconds. Your governor and your mayor want the judge to rule to let out all the criminal illegal aliens, not just the ones that are here illegally, but the ones who have rape, assault, attempted murder, all those charges. You let them out, damn you. We want them on our streets, you son of a bitches. Let them out! That's like saying, open up the government, open up the government, open up the government. How dare you open up the government? These people are batshit crazy, folks. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. That's why we don't need Republicans feeding into it by allowing these people an inch, because they'll just take a mile. Eli, get out. We want you out. Come out and rape more people. How dare you?
And it's those people who ought to be pinpointed, identified, facial recognition. All right, we're going to let Jose El Eagle over there. He raped 10 kids, and he's going to live with you. What? What are you talking? Well, he's got to go somewhere. He's going to live with you. They need to start forcing this on the people who are crying about this crap.
Yeah, I know. Yep. Another blow to immigration enforcement. A federal judge in Illinois is reportedly preparing to order the mass release of thousands of illegal aliens detained during the ICE's Operation Blitz. According to ABC 7 Chicago, U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Cummings, a Biden appointee, is weighing whether to grant what's called equitable relief. Equitable relief. More like equitable release. That could see federal immigration authorities forced to release thousands of detainees into so-called alternatives to detention programs, like ankle monitors, smartphone check-ins, and other ineffective tracking methods widely criticized with loopholes. Here you go. Did you download that app, Jose Alegal? You don't know, say? All right, good. Got your name in there? Mi nombre? Good. Good job. Good job. Go ahead. Get back out there in society. Don't rape anyone, huh? What about you, Mohammed Al-Sahin? You got your ankle monitor on? I got my ankle monitor on. Good for you. Don't go out there and behead anybody, all right? Okay. Good for you. What the hell? We've moved past R and D, Eli. We're now just in the realm of crazy in this world.
Uh-huh. Dude, I keep trying to justify it in my head. I started sitting here thinking, well, what if they do that and then everybody starts going out and killing and raping people? Then the people must be like, okay, Democrats are bad. No, because Porky Pritzker will probably spin it as, well, they wouldn't be raping people and killing people if you hadn't arrested them in the first place. They're distraught. They're stressed out. They need a release.
They need a release, all right. So let's move from that to this. Suffolk County was ordered to pay $112 million to hundreds of illegal aliens after an Obama judge rules that they were unlawfully detained by ICE again. Suffolk County, $112 million. U.S. District Judge William F. Kuntz, because I don't want to say it like K-U-N-T-Z. You be the judge of that one. I'll say Kuntz. You can say the other word. An Obama appointee issued the ruling after an illegal from Guatemala living in Long Island filed a lawsuit claiming he was detained by ICE beyond his release date. The judge ruled that the sheriff's office in Long Island unlawfully held the illegal aliens I can't even say those words together. Unlawfully held illegals. It's hard to even report the news today.
This is what I'm talking about, dude. I know we're going to get back into the whole authoritarian thing, but That's just blatantly wrong according to the Constitution and the laws of this great country. So that's when I say, change the definition of authoritarianism and go out and just only do really good things for the people and stop things like this from happening. That judge should be being thrown in cuffs, thrown to the ground and hogtied right now. And someone ought to be stepping on his head saying, are you effing retarded? I'm sorry, I'm getting worked up.
Well, I don't think authoritarianism should apply to illegal aliens. So, yeah, do what you need to do. Eli, do you remember that movie American History X with Edward Norton? Remember that movie?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. In that movie, obviously, he was a racist who wanted to kill all black people, went to prison, got raped a bunch of times, came out and wasn't racist anymore. That's the synopsis of the movie, right? That's the summary of the movie. He was a Nazi racist who hated black people, stomped on one's head on a curb, killed the guy, went to prison, got raped a bunch of times, saw the light, realized that racism isn't good, came out, and he wasn't racist anymore, and all his racist people thought he was going to still be racist, and they didn't like him anymore. That's the summary of the movie. However, in that movie, Eli, there's a very long part where he's talking about the illegal aliens that have taken over this country. And there was a clip of it the other day, which this is reminding me of this movie. There was a clip of it I saw the other day on Instagram. And I'm watching this clip and I'm like, man, this movie was hard to watch, right? This was an intense, rough movie back in the day, right? He was walking around with Mein Kampf as his guide, you know what I mean, to all of his people, all of his soldiers in the streets. But there was a moment where he was talking about the ultimate takeover from illegal immigration into this country and how immigration and INS wouldn't be able to do their job. There'd be hand-tied, they'd be hog-tied, that the government would side with the illegal aliens soon over time, that they would give them everything of ours, that they would give them the money, the land, the cars, the jobs, all that. And Eli, I was watching that and I said to myself, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like, as much as that movie was intense and hard to watch, there was so much truth in that movie about illegal aliens taking over this country.
Like I've said time and time again, dude, they tell us what's going on. They tell us what's going to happen because they have to, but they use Hollywood to do it. Hollywood is a horrible, 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 horrible propaganda machine.
Yep. Crazy. When did that movie come out? That was an early 2000s movie, 2005 maybe? But I think the movie took place in the 90s.
I think it was supposed to be present day in the movie, and it came out in 1998.
Oh, okay. Wow, that came out in 98?
Yep. The 90s didn't give a crap about your feelings. The 90s movies went hardcore.
Wow. So late 90s. Look at that. And here we are today. Divided because of race, because of Obama. People believe that that this is the most racist the country's ever been, apparently. Illegals have taken over. Wow. Forgot all about that movie until I saw that. All right, when we come back, we got to take a quick break here, just about 3 minutes. And when we come back, a Democrat staffer, Tammy Duckworth, was caught posing as an immigration lawyer to go in and free illegal aliens from ICE custody. You're going to love that. But before we go there, we got to go to Beekeepers Naturals, folks. We don't got to, but we should because Beekeepers Naturals is that great. What is Beekeepers Naturals? Well, it's derived from bees, honeybees, and there is a little thing called propolis. Now, what propolis is, it is a barrier. It actually helps keep viruses, bacteria, and, illnesses away from the bees, away from the hive. It protects the honeycomb, right? So when Beekeepers Naturals decided to start making products of which that me and my family have been taking for years, you see massive results. And this goes to show you the importance of bees. A lot of people go, well, bees are great because of pollination and things like that. Yeah, but like I said, God put things on this earth to cure anything, and propolis is one of those proactives that you can do today. Now, this is the immune support throat spray. A few shots of that every single day. Keep the bacteria away, right? It'll die instantly. And this is the nasal spray. So if you get clogged up, this will clear your sinuses really good. You've also got the vitamin C mobile packs, which is just liquid in a mobile pack. You just rip off and you drink on the go. But there's also tons of other things at Beekeepers Naturals, including soothing throat pops for kids, fiber pops, and more. So, Beekeepers Naturals. Bad Moon says, bees are the key to food growth. They're a key to a lot. And that's why we're sponsored by them. And I just want to pull up on the lower third here. beekeepersnaturals.com/LFA. You shouldn't need a promo code. You should just go to that website, beekeepersnaturals.com/LFA. It's in the description of this video, and you'll always see Suzanne. She'll pop them in there as well. 20% off if you go there today and order today. Beekeepers Naturals. That's beekeepersnaturals.com/LFA. And a big shout out to them. Very, very happy to have them as a sponsor. Would love to keep them for a very long time just because we use them. And we didn't start using them right away. We've been using them for years. Just a great sponsor to have and a great partner to have. Beekeepers Naturals. Also, folks, gold and silver. I want to tell you what the price of gold and silver is right now. It's going to blow your mind. $4,202.61 is the price of gold. $53.14. Folks, I think silver is going to go up to $70 within the next few months. Definitely by the mid of next year, because silver and gold are needed so much right now for technology. This is such a good investment, but it's such a good way to protect your money as well. Okay? Inflation in the dollar is always going to be everywhere, up, down, up, down, up, down. But gold, silver, precious metals, palladium, and platinum. Platinum is almost 1,600 an ounce, and palladium is almost 1,500 an ounce. These things are skyrocketing, folks. GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA. That's GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA. And you might ask yourself, well, why Golden Crest Metals? Because they give you free storage. If you don't want them to store it, then they'll send you a great safe for you to store your gold and silver, palladium, and platinum in. You get a free guide. There's no hidden fees. Everything is up front before you purchase anything, before you transfer anything. It's all up front. And you're dealing with a great guy named Rich Jacoby, who's actually there. Remember when your parents would buy the same car from the same car salesman throughout their whole life, and they never changed? It's because they knew that that person was going to take care of them. That's the kind of guy Rich Jacoby is. So GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA. One more time, GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA. If you've been in the thought process or even in the business of buying, continue to, folks, especially silver, because silver is going to skyrocket. It's just going to keep skyrocketing. That's why I have it. I love silver. And silver's cheap to buy, too. Okay? Anyway, moving into this. A staffer for Democrat Senator Tammy Duckworth was caught posing as a lawyer to help free an illegal alien from ICE custody in East St. Louis. They call that East Boogie. If anybody lives in that area, you know what I'm talking about. East Boogie. The Department of Homeland Security is demanding answers from Duckworth staffer Edward York, misrepresenting himself to federal agents as legal counsel for Jose Sandoval, a 4-time deported illegal alien with a prior DUI conviction. According to a letter from DHS, York entered the ICE facility on October 29th by falsifying a DHS form. Okay, federal crime, right? Federal felony, shouldn't it be? York met with Ayuso Sandoval and got him to sign a G-28 form, which allowed him to represent the illegal alien as a client. York also tried to submit the G-28 form without Sandoval's signature. 4 days later, a Suarez law office in Collinsville, Illinois, filed a G-28 electronically that did not have Mr. Ayuso's signature, even though Mr. York, who claimed to work for the law firm, had already obtained the signed form, the letter said. The DHS believes that York was actually collaborating with the law firm. We do have a quick video of this where his face is blurred out for whatever reason. Let's roll it. No sound, though. There you go. That person right there is the staffer for Tammy Duckworth. So I'm wondering if Tammy should be roped into this criminal investigation as well. Because if you're lying on federal forms, folks, isn't that a federal felony? No slap on the wrist for these people. Okay? Moving on. Operation Dirtbag. Greatest name for an operation and for a sting operation ever. Margaret Flavin wrote this story I want to read for you. Over 150 illegal alien sexual predators were just apprehended in Florida under an operation called Operation Dirtbag. Homeland Security Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, announced that over 150 illegal alien sexual predators were nabbed in Florida as a part of a sweep that she dubbed Operation Dirtbag. Secretary Noem also noted that working with DeSantis administration has been critical in making the state safer for citizens, saying our partnership with Florida is absolutely amazing. The operation was called Operation Criminal Return, but I call it Operation Dirtbag because these individuals were sex offenders and dirtbags. But not just sex offenders. They targeted children. So sexual assault, battery, and attempted homicide. These 150 individuals will be gone up our streets. Our kids will be safer. And this partnership with Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida is a model that we want to replicate across the country. She joined Fox and Friends to talk about that. Here's Kristi Noem.
So let's talk about this operation because this is stunning. This is a win not only for the administration, but also for the country. How are you able to nail these sex offenders? That's not easy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Lawrence, our partnership with Florida is absolutely amazing. This operation was called Operation Criminal Return. I call it Operation Dirtbag because these individuals were sex offenders, but not just sex offenders. They targeted children. So sexual assault, battery, attempted homicide. These 150 individuals will be gone off of our streets. Our kids will be safer. And this partnership with Governor DeSantis in Florida is a model that we want to replicate across the country. These individuals should have never been in our country to begin with. The fact that they were sexual deviants and perverts, and now we've gotten them off of our streets, it's remarkable, and we need to do more of it.
Hey, Eli, you know how these old, this is how crazy Disney is all those Disney stories like Sleeping Beauty and, the Rapunzels and all those. Most of those stories were taken from like Christian Hans, Andersen or whatever his name was. I think I got his name right. And like Brothers Grimm. They were dark, dark stories that were kind of shifted into stories for kids, right? But you go back and you watch like Pinocchio, right? Where they're talking about the island where they take little boys. Remember that? And they're never to be heard from ever again. And they're turned into these, play toys and pleasure toys that they play with. You go back and you look at things like Hansel and Gretel that somebody mentioned in the live chat here, where these kids go in the woods and this woman is trying to cook them and eat them and stuff like that. There's a lot of truth to that stuff, and it sucks and it's scary.
Yep. Again, dude, like I say all the time, they tell us what's going on. They tell us what they've done, what they're doing, what they're planning on doing. It's all insanely disgusting. The Jungle Book. At the end of that book, I guess Mowgli takes all of his jungle friends and tears ass through this human camp and kills everybody. I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and Milton said Pleasure Island, exactly, about the little boys that are taken to Pleasure Island. I mean, somebody asked me the other day, hey, have you ever taken the kids to Disney? I said, hell no. And they're like, oh, it's so great. I'm like, for you, not for this family. No way.
Yep, absolutely disgusting place. There's a weird movie I saw a few years ago. It was like an independent film this guy went in and made about Disney. It's like called Tomorrowland or something like that. But he kind of tries to portray Disney for what it like really is, and it's all done in black and white, and it's like found footage type. It's weird. You guys check it out.
Yeah. No. When I was a kid, I always wanted to go to Disney, but I never did, and I won't go as an adult. I can tell you that. I will not go as an adult. What's up?
And by the way, there's a place in Disney called Pleasure Island.
Yep. And there's an island where a lot of pleasure was going on for rich men around the world, of which Trump was not one of. Now let's go to Arizona Governor Shady Slobs, who is now under investigation for racketeering. An operator for a group...
Bill,
hold on.
What do you want?
Hold on. an operation for group homes for foster children, gave Katie Hobbs $400,000. In return, Katie Hobbs let the company increase rates by 65%, allowing them to steal millions from taxpayers. And she's now under investigation for this racketeering. Again, Eli, I think 2026 and 2027 is going to be a big year for a lot of skeptics that say President Trump isn't going to lock these people up. I think this year is setting everything up. He's fighting court cases. He's getting people on his side. He's making sure that he weeds out the good and the bad people that are going to do and not do the things that need to be done. A lot of people are jumping the gun on that. I think 26 and 27, you're going to see a lot of people go down like the mob in a RICO case. It's going to be one big fail swoop. And Katie Hobbs is not going to get away from it either. Let's go to Shady Slobs.
Why won't you take any questions? It's been 4 weeks, Governor, since you've had a gaggle. Why are you avoiding the public? Why are you avoiding the press, Governor? It's been 4 weeks, Governor.
Remember that?
Oh, that's the sound of a suburban door. Thank you.
Yeah, she doesn't like, I'm not taking questions. I'm not taking questions. Shady Slob's favorite thing to say. I'm not taking questions right now. I'm not taking questions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In return, the state, via the Department of Children's Safety, granted Sunshine preferential treatment, including a 60% rate increase from $195 to $234 per child per day. After an initial denial and expanded contracts allowing for 322 children, up from 280. This yielded Sunshine millions more in state funds annually. 4 million if beds, an extra 4 million if beds are full, by the way. Sunshine was the only provider to receive such a hike under Hobbs' administration, and this pay-to-play scheme, violating state laws on bribery, fraud, conflicts of interest, and procurement codes, racketeering, RICO, has been invoked in legislative letters due to the pattern of donations and contracts, and now Shady Slobs is under an investigation for racketeering. Here's some more news. Ready for this? Who remembers the election of November 8, 2022, in which Katie Hobbs got 1.287 million votes and Kari Lake got 1.270 million votes, a difference of just over 17,000 votes, with a win percentage for Shady Slobs at 50.32 and a loss percentage for Kari Lake at 49.65. Well, funny thing about that is, keep that 17,000 vote total in your brain for a second. Ready for this? Because 50,000 illegal non-voters, non-citizens, illegal aliens were just forced off the voting rolls that voted in that election. Arizona just removed 50,000 non-citizens from its voting rolls after a lawsuit from America First Legal forced counties to finally enforce the law. Officials under Shady Slobs and Adrian Fontes hadn't been verifying citizenship or running required checks until now. Eli, make sure that show is put to public, okay? Officials under Katie Hobbs and Adrian Fontes hadn't been verifying citizenship or running background checks until now. They had to be sued and into enforcing the law, in which made them remove 50,000 illegal alien voters off the voting rolls. So now let's go back to that 17,000. That means that at a minimum, Kari Lake won by 33,000 votes. Isn't this very old news already? Joe Paloka said. Well, yeah, it's old news that lawsuit was going on. We talked about that a long time ago. But now they actually had to remove the 50,000 voters. So how do we rectify this? Kari Lake should be the governor of Arizona. We all knew that. We've known that for years. But how do we rectify it now that those 50,000 voters that were on the voting rolls that whole time are now off, and Kari Lake should have at the very least won by 33,000 votes. We know it's more than that even because of all the shenanigans that were, had played out during that time. I have an inclination that nobody's ever going to be able to fix that. But you can fix it going forward if you can't fix it going backward. How? How? End the friggin' filibuster now. And put in election integrity measures so that going forward, no election can do this ever again. And you have people on the ground to watch it when it does and to stop it when it does. It's the only way. It's the only way you, me, or anybody else is ever going to see a free and fair election ever again. Period. That's how you fix it. All right, we only got about 3 minutes left here. Okay, I showed this on Good Morning LFA. I've got to show it again here. This school board, or this lady, walks up to a pro-trans school board, sets her stuff down and says, hold on, sets her stuff down and says, I'm a school board member now. Deal with it. Because I can just be whatever I want to be, right? Watch this. This is amazing.
Oh, yeah, sure.
People are looking at her like, what the hell is she doing?
So correct. I, Heather Fletcher, identify as a Board of Education member, and my pronouns are I won. Okay? I'm ready to get to work. Let's get to work. We're going to ask you this. Oh, really? Why? Is this not correct? Can I not just be anything I want to be? Can I not just be a man if I want to be? Can I not just be a
transphobe
if I want to be? Can I not just be a Board of Education member if I want to be? Come on. I'm living in your reality, right? I'm living in your reality. And I'm trying to just go with the flow. Thank you. Pronouns are I won. Okay, I'm a Board of Education member. Hi, Dean Rose. We're going to ask you. Good to see you. Hey, Jamie.
Let's go.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. I guess it isn't reality. Huh? Quit lying to our kids.
Transphobe.
Okay. We're not gonna.
Gotta love it. She just walks up, says, I'm a school board member now. My pronouns are I won. This is reality, right? If a man can just be whatever he wants and a woman can be whatever she wants, then I am a school board member. I'm here to vote. Let's get to work. And the school boards are like, can you get her out of here? And you got people in the crowd, transphobe. And she goes, oh, what do you mean? This isn't reality? You mean I'm not a school board member just because I want to be? Well, how about that? I love what she did there, Eli. And that's floating around social media now.
Yep. I further would have pissed that shill of a guy off too and saying, oh, it's actually not possible to be a transphobe because trans people don't exist. Freak. Freaks exist. Freaks exist. Bye.
Freaks exist, says Eli. Freaks. They exist. Hey, folks, on your way out, do not forget about the 45% off right now for your everyday dose coffee. That's right, 45% off your box set and up to 60% off on Black Friday sales at everydaydose.com/LFATV right now. Look at that beautiful drink right there. Look, I'm not like a cold coffee guy, but that looks good. Everyday Dose coffee, folks, right now. Get yours. It's coffee plus benefits because it has Arabica coffee, 100% Arabica coffee, collagen protein, chaga, L-theanine, and lion's mane. All things that regular coffee doesn't have, and you'll get it without the jitters as well. Everydaydose.com/LFATV. That is everydaydose.com/LFATV. One more time, everydaydose.com/LFATV. We'll pop it up there for you. It's 45% off. You get a free rechargeable frother. You get the coffee. You get a box set, all for 45% off. You can't go wrong. Everydaydose.com/LFATV. Folks, there are right ways and wrong ways, but there's only one Yahweh. So stand up tall, keep your shoulders back, keep your chest out, keep your head up high, because you are a child of God and no weapon formed against you will ever prosper. Pete Santilli up next right here on LFA TV. Keep your family, friends, and pets close. Keep a smile on your face, and whatever you do, never stop spreading that gospel. Peace!